Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the video useful, please subscribe to the channel. In this video, we'll solve a vector algebra problem. As per the problem, let vector u equals I plus j, vector v equals I minus j, and vector w equals I plus 2j plus 3k if vector n is a unit vector such that vector u dot vector n equals 0 and vector v dot vector n is equal to 0, then the magnitude of vector w dot vector n is equal to, we are given four answer choices. We have to choose the correct answer choice. Let's start by analyzing the given information. In this problem, we are given vectors u, v and w. We need to find the magnitude of dot product of vectors w and n. In order to find the magnitude of this dot product, we need to know vector n. Let's assume vector n is equal to a times I plus b times j plus c times k. We have to find the values of coefficients a, b and c for components I, j and k for vector n. We should assume that vector n is a 3D vector because the given vector w is a 3D vector. As per the problem, the dot product of vector u and vector n is equal to 0. We can calculate the dot product. Vector u is I plus j. Vector n is ai plus bj plus ck. We can do the dot product of the vectors by multiplying the I, j and k components. For component I, the coefficients are 1 and a, so we get 1 times a. For component j, the coefficients are 1 and b, so we get 1 times b. There is no k component in vector u, so for component k, the coefficient in vector u is 0, so we get 0 times c equals 0. We can simplify this equation. 1 times a is a, 1 times b is b, 0 times c is 0, so that term goes away. So we get the equation a plus b equals 0. We are also given in the problem that the dot product of vector v and vector n is equal to 0. We can calculate this dot product. Vector v is I minus j. Now we can calculate the dot product by multiplying the coefficients of I, j and k components. I get 1 times a for the I components and then negative 1 times b for the j components and then 0 times c for the k components. Now we can simplify this equation. A minus b equals 0. Now we have two equations with a and b. We can solve these two equations to find the values of a and b. We can use the elimination method. We can add these two equations to get rid of the b terms in these two equations. I get 2a equals 0. We can divide both sides by 2. I get a equals 0. We can sub in this value of a in one of the two equations to find the value of b. I can use the first equation. We can replace a with 0. I get b equals 0. So as per these a and b values, vector n is equal to 0i plus 0j plus ck. We can ignore the I and j components because their coefficients are 0. So we get vector n equals ck. As per the problem, vector n is a unit vector. That means the value of c should be equal to 1 because that will make vector n a unit vector. So vector n is equal to 1 times component k or just component k. Now we can calculate the dot product for vectors w and n. Vector w is I plus 2j plus 3k dot k. The I and j components of vector n have coefficient 0. So the dot product is equal to 1 times 0 plus 2 times 0 plus 3 times 1. 1 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 3 times 1 is 3. So I get 3. So the dot product of vectors w and n is 3. Therefore, the magnitude of the dot product of vectors w and n is equal to 3. This should be the final answer for this problem. So the answer should be option D. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve this problem. I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.